Well, Julia Hanson was at our conference even before I published her book. And it was after I read it, I decided to do it, and we've got her back again. I don't know if I want to tell you about what she is, or maybe she can tell her own story, but it says Master Healer, Channel ordained minister of spiritual science, studied metaphysics for over 25 years. But the main thing you're going to be talking about is creating your reality.
That's right.
How to create. And you can create anything in your life, you can have it. It's a law of the universe. It must happen. If you know how, first you got to know what you want, but once you know what you want, you can have it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a law of the universe. You just know how to apply it. There's no reason to be in lack at all. You can have anything you want. She's going to tell us about it. Here is the book that we published of hers called Awakening to Your Creation. And I'm going to let Julia Hanson take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Dolores. Whew, I made it. I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much. And Dolores, thank you so much for having me and having the patience to wait for my airplane. Today I want to talk about creation. My book is called Awakening to Your Creation. And it's a little bit my story, and it's a little bit everybody's story, because we're all creators. We are all one, and we're all creators with the universe. We're co-creators with God. That makes you one of the most powerful human beings in the entire known universe. You can do anything. You can create anything you want. So we ask ourselves a lot, if you can create anything you want, why is it we're not getting what we want? How many people really know what they want in life and don't get it? Hands? Oh, you all have what you want? Okay, all right. Boy, have I got a great crowd. My story starts when I was 21 years old. I had questions. I wanted to know why my world got tipped on its head once again. And my world was always getting tipped on its head, and apparently it still is, because I can't seem to make an airplane. But what I really wanted to know was, how can I create what it is I want in this world without all of this craziness, without all of this weirdness happening? And my friend and I were sitting in the living room one afternoon, and we were talking about the mysteries of life, and all of a sudden I hear, haven't you heard? Life is a mystery. And I'm like, I didn't say that. My friend said he didn't say it. And I looked up, and there's an angel in my living room. And he, she, it, because they're androgynous, but he was more masculine to me, so I called him Kevin. He told me his name, and it was the most beautiful symphonic sound I have ever heard in my life. It was a musical symphony so beautiful that I couldn't repeat it even if I had to. It hit on every sense. It made you warm, it made you cold, it made you laugh, it made you cry. It was beautiful. And I'm looking at this magnificent being standing in my living room, because I'm a very logical thinker, and I thought I was going crazy. The only thing I had to relate it to was Star Trek, and I kept thinking, okay, I've just morphed myself into a Star Trek episode. And that didn't actually happen, but he did come in to answer our questions, and the very first thing he told me was, Julia, love is all there is. Everything else is stuff you make up. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't make all this icky stuff up that happened to me. I had just come off a broken back. I've broken my back 3 times. And I'm still walking, and I'm still jumping horses. My publisher doesn't know that yet, but yes, I'm still jumping horses. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if love is all there is, and everything else is stuff we make up, I'm not seeing too much love in the world. This was back in 1981. There was a lot of really icky stuff going on in the world. And they said, and my angel looked at me and he said, Julia, love is what you use to create. The energy of love permeates the entire universe. How you use that energy is up to the individual. You can create using icky stuff, or you can create using good stuff. Energy is inert. Energy does not have a positive or negative. It just is. It's what you put on that energy that makes it good, bad, right, wrong, ugly, happy, sad, whatever. And so that was my first lesson with my angel. And then he proceeded to tell me, Julia, You already are perfect, whole, and complete just the way you are. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. Now, I know me. And I know I'm not perfect. And he goes, oh, yes, you are. He goes, not only are you perfect, you don't need any downloads, you don't need any upgrades, you don't need any new software, you don't need any new thinking apparatus to make you more perfect and whole and complete than you already are. I was 21 years old. I thought I knew everything. Turns out I didn't. You already are perfect, whole, and complete. You are a co-creator with God. What you choose to do with it is everything. And it is choice. We look at the world and we wonder why the things happen to us that happen to us. We look at the world and we say, oh my gosh, I had all this stuff happen to me, and all of this negative energy is hitting me. You know, my next door neighbor kicked the dog came home, kicked the cat scratched you. All of this negative stuff is happening, and you have to ask yourself why. It couldn't be my fault, could it? Couldn't possibly be my fault, right? Right? Well, it is, okay? Because you create your choices. You choose in any given moment what you want to have your reality to be. In any given moment, you make thousands of choices. Like, I chose to get on a plane today. I could have chosen to say, you know, this is just going to be too hard. I can't do it. I'm not going to stand in line for 3 hours for this airplane ride. Or I could come and speak in front of this magnificent audience and give you something that perhaps you haven't had before. I don't know. But life is choice. Everything in life is choice. And if I were to tell you angels are real and love is all there is and you're perfect, whole, and complete, what would you say to that? Exactly. So let's see how that manifests in your world. What I want to do is to allow you the opportunity to make a choice and to create something really wonderful in your world. Now, there's a couple things with that. There's a couple caveats with that. You've made choices in the past, not only in this lifetime, but in previous lifetimes. So when you incarnate in this lifetime, you're still kind of bringing a little baggage along with you. Does anybody have baggage from past lives? Yeah, I seem to carry a couple of suitcases with me. But I'm working on that part. Because now I'm making new choices. I am choosing to do something different. I am choosing a higher vibrational path. Okay? So my first piece of advice would be, don't take anything personally. Okay? People always have opinions. Okay? This is where we get in trouble. Most people have opinions. And they love giving them to you. Right? And my theory is everybody's opinion is correct. Everybody's opinion is right because it's your opinion. I have not walked 25 miles in your shoes, nor have I said, I've done what you've done in every one of your lifetimes. I know better than you what you should do. Does that even make sense? Right. So don't take things personally. People have opinions, okay? And they're probably going to give them to you. And I say, oh, that's fabulous. That's wonderful. I love that. Because that's your opinion. Now, you want to hear mine? But you see what I'm saying. So it goes back to choice. But I'm serious, because those opinions, there's 2 rules the angels gave me on this planet. And this is kind of cool. There's 2 rules on this planet. The first one is, you cannot interfere with the free will choice of another. And I know that Dolores talks about this a lot. That's the first thing you tell me. I was 21 years old. Do you know how many times a day we do that? Yeah, I do it a lot. And I'm really being conscious of it now, though. That's the difference. I'm making conscious choices. 9 times out of 10, our lives, we make unconscious choices because we're not really thinking about what it is we're doing in this moment. We're thinking about yesterday and, how we're going to get a job. We're thinking about tomorrow, what's going to happen if we don't get a job yesterday. But we're very rarely concentrating on the now moment. We're very rarely here, present, fully, completely present. One of Jeshua's best and most wonderful gifts, in my opinion, because I remember that lifetime, was his ability to be fully present with his audience. He gave you 100% of his attention all the time, and it is overwhelming. That's what the angels do. They give you 100% attention in the now moment all the time, and it can be a bit overwhelming. Back to rule number 2. First rule is not to interfere with the free will choice of another. Second rule is you will always be held accountable for your actions. That's it. The law books take up libraries of laws of do's and don'ts, cans and can'ts. Those are the 2 rules. Think of how difficult those 2 rules are. Not to interfere with the free will choice of another. And being held accountable for your actions. How many people hold themselves accountable every day, every moment, in every choice they make? Every moment, every choice. That's pretty good. That's actually more than I expected. A lot of people do not really take responsibility for their stuff. We tell stories about why we are the way we are. We tell stories because we don't want to take responsibility for why we are the way we are. I broke my back 3 times. 3 times. The first one was gymnastics, second one was an ex-husband, third one was I was jumping horses. And I'm still doing that, so it didn't say much for my intelligence. But why I did it and why it got broken is a whole nother story. Okay, and the book kind of explains the whole process of awakening to why things happened to me the way they did. Okay? It served me in some way, shape, or form. Every choice you make serves you in some way, shape, or form. Okay? We make a choice to eat this because it's good and we like it and we have no willpower. We make a choice to drink this or, drink alcohol or whatever because we enjoy it. We make a choice to cuss the person out in line in front of us because we just want to, because he annoyed us. We make these choices. Now, I'm not talking about y'all because y'all are really cool. But we make choices based on our perception in any given moment. So what do we need to change? Do we need to change our choices or do we need to change our perception about our reality? Yeah, that's a biggie, perception. Let's talk about perception for just a second. Quantum physicists have the most wonderful way of describing your reality. Your reality is based on your perceptions, which is based on your belief system, which is based on your actions, which is based on your choices, and it comes around full circle to your belief system. I call it BS. And I call it BS for a reason, because the truth is the truth until it's not. Your truth today is not the same as your truth when you were in 3rd grade. Am I right? Probably not, okay? The truth 100 years ago, it's okay to own people. Whoa, not anymore. It's okay to segregate. Whoa, not anymore. It's okay to love some of the people some of the time and not love the other people because they're not really worthy. Right? Okay? Our truths are changing. Well, right now, today, this moment in history is one of the most unique moments in history we have ever seen. We are doing a fully conscious ascension of the entire planet without loss of sentient life. This is the first time it's ever been done. First time. Okay, so we don't really know the rules. So it's kind of a cool new world out there. We get to make it up as we go because we're creating it as we go. Every conscious choice you make, and every one of you is a part of this. No one is better than anyone else. No one is higher than anyone else. We are in this together. We as a collective body, and this is what the angels tell me all of us are, we all are the Christ child. And we're being born anew, literally, into a new world. Okay, they call it the ascension. He first told me about ascension when I was 21, and I got all weird. Because ascension, I got kicked out of church when I was 10 years old because I had memories of past lives, and I remembered the Magdalene, and I remembered Jeshua, and this poor unfortunate priest happened to say that she was a whore, and me and my little 10-year-old self, something just welled up inside me, and I stood up on my little pew, and I said, "You're a big fat liar." And so, Mrs. Nelson, we have a problem. So, I didn't do a lot of church after that. And so I developed my own BS, my own belief system based on observation and some of the things that had happened to me. And then, of course, I had an angelic intervention, probably because I needed a little more kick in the pants than most people did. And then I started really figuring it out about how we can do a fully conscious ascension without loss of most sentient life. Sentient life is you guys, okay? And that's by making choices that will support that consciousness. Make sense? okay? And if we all make those choices together collectively, literally you can ascend the planet tomorrow. If all of us on this planet decided in one moment to lift themselves up in a vibrational context that is higher than where we are right now, and we're pretty high right now. We've been doing a lot of work on this planet. People like Dolores and all of the wonderful speakers we have, I'm telling you, we have done a lot of work on this planet, and all of you have too. So we're ahead of the game. But the goal, it's not the end game. There is no end game. That's the other thing the angels explained to me. I always thought that this was a race to the finish. I'm there, I'm done. Whoosh, I'm out of here. I'm done, but it's not. Life is not a journey. I mean, it's not a period. It's kind of the ... and it continues, okay? So we're going to continue and continue and continue. But this time period is really extraordinarily important. This time period in history is like none other, and we are graced to be able to participate in it. And this is a get to. Because let me tell you, trillions and trillions and trillions of souls stepped aside so you could incarnate on this planet and take your position as a master of creation. That kind of gives you a whole new thought process about why you're here, right? Trillions of souls stepped aside and said, you have my ticket to this planet. You have the best chance of ascending this planet. You are a master. You have incarnated time and time and time again. You have learned your lessons. You have done what needs to be done, and you are here to help ascend this planet. All of you. All of you. That is huge. Huge. This is a get to. People wake up and they come to me. I do a lot of healing work, and it's not healing work where I put my hands on you and say, oh, you're going to be better. It's about conversation about why you are the way you are so we can make better decisions. Life is a get to. Love is all there is. Everything else is stuff we make up. So let's make up a collective something really cool. Because when we start making collective, higher vibrational choices, something really unique starts to happen. Something really wonderful starts to happen. Your body starts changing. Now, Dolores has known me for, 3 years? 4 years now? 4 years? At least 3 or 4 years now, and I have changed probably a lot in that short 4-year period. When you reach these vibrational choices, something unique happens with your chemistry. The higher your vibration rises, the more the particulates, those very small particles, the smallest particle, it's where consciousness condenses into physical matter, that starts to change, and it starts to reorder itself. And as it reorders itself within your physical construct, it allows more light to be held by your body. And light is the physical equivalent of love. Love condensed is light. Okay? Make sense? Have you ever noticed in the wintertime when there's not very much light, people tend to get depressed? Okay? Well, that's why. Because that's love coming from the universe. And when you're without and you cut yourself off physically from that, then you tend to spiral kind of into a negativity. So, where was I? So the particulates start reordering themselves. And as they reorder themselves, you begin to hold more and more light in your physical being. It's called ascending into your light body. And when that happens, certain codes start getting turned on in your DNA. And I called them light codes for lack of a better word because I thought it was kind of cool, light codes, and there you have it. When your light codes start getting kicked into gear, some really cool stuff starts to happen. And this is where my angels really started helping me, because this was, when they first introduced this concept to me, it was really kind of scary. I was like, wait a minute, I know who I am now, but if you do what you say you're going to do, then I may not recognize who I am later on. And I'm kind of partial to me. I'm kind of, my stuff, my luggage is kind of what makes me me. Okay? One of the things that I've noticed with people, especially with their stuff, is they really like to hang on to it. I mean, it's almost like you have these claw marks hanging onto your luggage, you know, because you just really love your stuff. Well, I like my stuff too, and I didn't want to get rid of it either. But it's not about taking who you are now and throwing it out with the bathwater. What it is about assimilating that into a higher construct, into a higher space of learning. Make sense? Okay? So, what happens is your light codes get turned on. Let me back up a minute. DNA. How many people really know what DNA is? Nobody. I love that. Yeah, and I'm not one either, but they gave me a couple of clues, so I'll clue you in how they clued me in. Okay? Your DNA literally carries within it every conscious decision, thought, action, word, and deed you have ever done since the inception of your soul 4.2 billion years ago. So, when they say the answers are within, they are. They're in your DNA. They're literally encoded in every DNA strand you have. And you are a 12-strand genetic human, angelic human. Okay? You have 12 strands of DNA. They are created for the dimension in which they operate. So you're really only operating on 2, maybe 3 here in this one. Okay? Now, within your DNA, you have different codes, and I'm not going to get into it. It gets pretty technical. You can read the book if you want a little bit more information about it. But there are trillions of gateways in your DNA. They are set on a star octahedral structure, and it's kind of like 2 4-sided pyramids, one with the point facing down and one with the point facing up, and they spin in opposite directions, through which the breath of God flows, or your consciousness, because you are God, literally. Now, you are not obviously all that God is, but you are just like a drop of water is just like the ocean. That drop isn't the ocean, obviously, but it carries every aspect of that ocean. Does that make sense? And you're all that. So your DNA actually portrays and has embedded within it the perfected genetic genome of your original blueprint. Everybody's going, huh? I love that. Okay, so what is an original genetic blueprint? Anybody got a clue? If you had to think about it, what would you might think that might be? Anybody? Your Akashic records? No, this is your original genetic blueprint. I'm sorry? Peace of God, peace of all that is. It is your original divine perfected blueprint of who you truly are prior to making choices and decisions other than what God would make for you, because we have free will choice. Love is all there is. Everything else is just stuff we make up. The original genetic blueprint is that which you don't make up. That's the part of you that never forgot God. That is the part of you that is. It doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't choose. It just is. Love just is. And when you come to that place, that vibrational place where this is all integrated within you, you will come to that place of beingness. And it is amazing. And I was going to read you when that happened to me, but I forgot my glasses, so I can't. The craziest things. But I can tell you what it was like. It was the most beautiful experience I have ever experienced. Amaret, she's one of my guides, and she's amazing. She's so beautiful. And the first time I saw her, I just went, "Can I look like you?" She said no. But she was beautiful. And she said, "Julia, we are going to place the original genetic blueprint over the illusion of who you think you are." And that scared me to death. I was like, oh my gosh, am I good enough? I mean, just, God, I'm just a C student. Am I good enough for this? And she said, of course you are, because you already are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way you are. You don't need any upgrades. You don't need any downloads. You already have this within you. This is who you are. This isn't something that you're trying to aspire to. Make sense? Okay? So when that happened, it was the most beautiful experience of my life. I was sitting out in my garden, and I have a little waterfall my husband built me. He's a landscaper, so I have lots of flowers. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, it was like an awareness. It's like she awakened my awareness to who I truly was for the first time. And it was as though I saw colors for the first time in my life. It was as though I could feel the love people had for me for the first time in my life. And I could see who you truly are, not who you think you are. And it's beautiful beyond belief. I look at you and you glow. You're just glowing, and this whole room is glowing. It is so beautiful. I wish I could impart that experience to you. It's possible. Everyone can do this. Everyone has this. We're all in this together. I got lucky. But I can share that and tell you this is what it is. And when you make those choices, and when you come in and you say, I choose love. Sean Galloway does this wonderful song. It's called I Choose Love. And I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's just fabulous. And it's about choosing love, because love is all there is. The coolest part is if you look at your auras, you can see what's standing in your way from seeing your own divinity. And that's what the book is all about. I wrote this book. For those of you that know, does anybody know what a triple Aries is? I'm a triple Aries. I have, what is it the angels are always telling me? Patience is a virtue you seldom express. And I love that saying because I'm usually on the go pretty quick. And so to write a book to me was like giving birth. But it was really, really extraordinary for me to give to all of you these experiences and let you know it's not individualistic. Anytime you choose to do this, you will. You can create your own reality. That's why I called my book Awakening to Your Creation, because nobody has created like you. Nobody's made the choices that you've made in your life to create this beautiful existence, this symphony, this orchestration of life that is just beautiful beyond compare. And I can look in your auras and I can just see the beauty shining from your faces. But what gets in our way? What gets in our way from seeing that divinity? What gets in our way from seeing our own beautiful creations? There's one word, it starts with a J. Judgment. Yeah, we judge something good, bad, right, or wrong. Okay? And every time, Kevin, he's my first angel. Apparently I needed more than one. But he said, Julia, beware of that faulty judgment. Okay? And what happens when you judge is you deem something imperfect based upon your knowledge, not based upon what they did. Because like I said, I haven't walked a mile in your shoes. I haven't made your choices. I haven't had to do what y'all have had to do to get wherever it is that y'all are at. Okay? I have no qualifications to tell you this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. My book is not about this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. My book is about allowing you to have your experience and revel in it. Love it. You're a creator. You're great. You're fabulous. Okay? And I want to impart to you how critically important that is at this moment in time. Because we are at a critical juncture right now on this planet. Tomorrow, we can recreate Eden on this planet if we all choose. Okay? And that's what I'm here to awaken within you. The creational ability you have to bring that divine blueprint into your life right now. All you have to do is choose to have it so. The universe is kind of a cool thing, because the universe, all it knows how to say is, so be it. That's it. So when you desire something, desire from the Father, and you want to create something in your life, all you have to do is say, okay, God, this is what I want in my life. I want that, and then get out of your way. Most people tend to get in their own way of what it is that they want to create in their lives. Say you want a job. Say you want to you want more money next year. Say you want anything you want, a horse. I wanted a horse. I love jumping. I told the universe, I said, I want to be safe about this time. I want a horse that's going to allow me to be able to jump and to be a good friend and a wonderful, wonderful friend, because animals are my friends. And that's it. And I got out of my own way, and I stepped over here and I said, allow it to happen. And then A, B, C, D, and E all happened behind me that I didn't even know about, and all of a sudden here's this perfect horse right in front of me, and I just went, wow. Cost me $0. Zero. And I'm not going to get into how all that happened, but all I did was get out of my own way. I said, universe, this is what it is. Now, in the universe, all it knows how to say is so be it. God so loves you, all he says is, here it is. But what are you creating in your life? Is it wonder, beauty, joy, love, all the things that you desire? Or is it icky stuff and tough stuff and problems and all of this? What are you creating in your life? What I want to tell you is, when you create and you start thinking about how you're creating what it is, and you start consciously making a choice, okay, this is what it is. I want this, 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 and this. You project all the love in your being into that creation. You feel it, okay? You don't just say it. You don't just say, well, I'll give you an example. The very first thing I ever created was a rain cloud. You know, Kevin started teaching us the way things really were on this planet. I said, well, okay, me and my little self, okay. If that's true, I want to create a rain cloud, because I live in Texas, and it's very frequently very droughtish. And I had 40 acres to water and no watering system. And I said, I want it to rain because I didn't want my grass to die. And my trees had beautiful oak trees. And so I said, okay, well, maybe we can make it rain. So I thought about it. I visualized it. We went outside, and I kind of visualized this cloud being up there raining on the place, and nothing. I got nothing. And so I said, okay, something's missing. And so we talked about it a little bit more, and I said, emotion. Emotion, energy in motion. Love. Love is all there is. Everything else is stuff we make up, right? So if we put a lot of love into this, maybe something's going to change. And lo and behold, it did. We started thinking about this beautiful rain cloud, and I loved it into being. I loved it, because I love the rain. I absolutely love rainstorms. Sorry about the one y'all got, but I love rainstorms. And all of a sudden, I look up, and there's this ginormous cloud, and it just pours. And I went, whoa, was that me? And Kevin came in and said, yeah. He goes, great idea. He goes, who's in charge down there? Great idea of construction. You can do it. You're a creator. You're a co-creator with God. That makes you the most powerful creature in all the known universes. And it is ridiculous to think you can't have whatever it is you want if that's the case. And I know that to be true. I don't just think it. I know that to be true, because I do it all the time. I made my plane. I literally created a space for me to get in this plane, because it wasn't going to happen. And I said, oh, wait, God, I know I'm just a C student, and I was the last one on the plane, and they shut the door. You can do it, okay? It takes a little practice, because, just like anything else, just like a new muscle, it takes a little practice. But we're moving into a section of energy that's very easy to manipulate right now. Okay? We're moving into a very high vibrational contextual energy that you can create very, very easily. How many people have noticed that they think a thing and it just happens? Has that been happening to you a lot lately? Okay? Well, we're moving into this new energy where that's really possible. Okay? And a lot of what's in this book will teach you how to do that in choices. Please, please, please be conscious of your choices. And if you want to know, this is another thing, because I didn't understand war. I really don't understand conflict and war. And I remember asking when I was 4 years old why people had to be so mean to each other. I never really got that when I was a kid. And I remember Kevin came in and he goes, Julia, do you think really high vibrational thoughts all the time, all day, or do you get annoyed? I went, ooh, yeah, I get a little annoyed. So let's look into our individual lives and see, what are we creating in our individual lives? Because whatever we're creating in our individual lives, magnify that by 6.75 billion people, and you have the world as you see it today. So if you think your opinion doesn't count, au contraire, believe me, your opinion counts. Because every time you create something anew in a higher vibrational context, you are raising the collective. And if we do it all together with all the love in our being, it will happen tomorrow. And I'm all for that happening tomorrow because I'm not really into war. I don't understand it. I didn't even understand when I was 4 years old why you had to pay for water. I remember asking my mom, why do you have to pay a water bill? Won't you die without it? So there's a lot of things on this planet I don't really understand yet. But I'm getting there. I have 4 grandchildren. They are teaching me. Okay. So, what does that sound like to you? Does that sound doable? What is the biggest obstacle standing in your way? The what? Oh, okay, well, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Okay, well, that could stand in your way. I'm not going to manifest ticks in my world, so I'm going to erase that. Okay, well, okay. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Okay, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about when I'm standing in your way, yourself, your doubts about yourself. How many times have we been told when we were kids, you're not worthy? You're not good enough for that. You hadn't worked hard enough for that. You haven't put in the hours necessary to be good at that. How many times have we been told we're less than? How many people believe that about themselves? Not anymore. Good for you. That's the right answer. Good. When we have a doubt about ourselves or when we have an issue, okay, because we all have issues, all right? Mine is patience. What happens is we create these big blobs, okay? It's kind of, I call it a blob of negativity, and it hangs out in your aura. I can see them, so I usually know what's out with you if you come to me. You have 12 layers. You have a lot of in-between layers, but let's start with the basic 12. They're in my book as well. And if you have something getting in your way, you're going to have this big, like, black blob in your aura. And it keeps the light from shining, okay? And if it keeps the light from shining, light is love. Love is all there is. And that literally is my definition of God, okay? And it stops the light from shining on a particular organ or a part of your body. Say it's a mental issue. And you say to yourself, boy, that guy really gets under my skin, you know, and you're thinking about it all the time, and he's just, you know, So what's the first thing that's probably going to happen to you? Skin rash, okay? So be careful of your words, all right? Words are very powerful, all right? The angels are continually, and believe me, these days, man, mine are really, I'm really having to watch what I say because it's no sooner out of my mouth than it exists in my world. Now, that's the other thing. When you get to these higher vibrational levels, you really need to be consciously aware of what it is you think. You don't give a 3-year-old the button of a nuclear bomb and tell him not to punch it, because what's the first thing your 3-year-old is going to do? Punch it. So, when you start becoming who we're meant to be and remembering and stepping into the awareness of your divine perfection, you're going to start receiving a ton of new gifts. Okay, a lot of fun stuff. I mean, you can manipulate energy, you can make yourself invisible, which apparently happens to me frequently at Starbucks. And I don't know why it happens there. Maybe they're trying to get me off coffee, who knows. But a lot of fun gifts. You can start hearing voices, thoughts, you know, you can see stuff. I mean, you know, it's really kind of fun. It's like to me, it's like Christmas. I mean, I get to see all kinds of fun stuff. But with those gifts comes a lot of responsibility. All right? Because if you don't have your stuff in a really good space, you can misuse that. And if you misuse that, then they're going to get taken away again. Okay, that's what happened in the original fall. And the fall is actually explained in there. It's not kind of what you thought it was, or it's not what I thought it was. I thought it was really interesting how they explained it. But, and if you're interested, I'll talk about that a little bit later. How much time do I have? I'm giving it. So I want to leave time for questions. Oh, gosh. I yak a lot, don't I? I know. I better be pretty fast. But in any event, one of the things that I want to say is once you start getting these gifts, how many people have noticed hearing thoughts, just random thoughts in your head out of the blue? Yeah, see, it's really starting to happen a lot now. My first one was I was jogging, and this is when I was a little heavier, and a very not nice comment came floating by from this model that ran by me, and I was like, ooh, that hurts. So we need to, be aware of our thinking because, as Kevin says, no thought is unheard. Believe it. And so now it's really funny. My friend Joe, for some reason I can hear him very clearly, and so we kind of have conversations in our head, and so we'll be laughing. And so it really can do that. And then I work with a lot of indigos. I work with a lot of kids all over the country. They can just literally, they call it pinging me. They go, oh, let's ping Jules at 1 a.m. And so I'll get pinged and wake up, and they'll know you'll usually call. So a lot of good, fun gifts are coming your way, all right? But a lot of that is about your choices, and that's awakening to your creation. Once you realize what you're creating, you can recreate it, okay? You can't get rid of what you already have. You can only transmute it or take your attention and recreate the choices such that it moves in a higher vibrational direction. Does that make sense? It's kind of like ripples in a pond. When you drop a rock, you're going to have ripples, and eventually the ugly ripples will go away, but it's going to take a little time. Make sense? So time is kind of short, so let's make higher vibrational choices. Okay? All right. I wanted to take time for questions, and I know we have 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes left. So I want to ask...
Julia, why don't you tell them about how you cured your back when you broke your back?
Oh, okay, yeah. I should have mentioned that. I seem to be very stubborn, and it takes me a while to learn things. But Amaret came in, and I had had back pain since I was approximately 14 years old. 14 and 15 years old, I broke my back the first time. And at that moment, they said, you have two choices, surgery or you're not going to be able to walk. And I'm like, well, I'm walking now, and I don't want to take that chance. So I didn't have surgery. I chose not to have an invasive surgery. And somehow in the back of my mind, I always knew I could heal myself. And this is very important for those of you that have issues of a health nature. Your body, given half a chance, will always heal itself. It is always, always, always looking for its own balance. All right? So when Amaret came in, this was after the third break, and I was pretty tired of the pain. I had been in such pain at moments that I couldn't even stand up, and when I did, I'd fall down. And she said, okay. She goes, if you do what we suggest, she never said you have to do this, it's always a suggestion, then in 4 months to the day, your back will quit hurting. And I was, in my late 30s, I think, at this moment, or maybe in my 40s. I might have been in my 40s by then. In any event, she said, she gave me a series of exercises to do, stretches, which were brutal beyond belief. She gave me a bunch of green stuff that I had to mix all together, and it was called the green glop, and it was just horrendous, but I drank it every day. And then I had a series of meditation exercises that she had given me, and some energy work that I did on myself, and a gate of grace, which really helped. And she said, if you do all of these things every single day, in 4 months to the day, your back will quit hurting. And of course I was like, well, yeah, right, it's hurt since I was 15 years old, probably. Chances are it'll hurt less, and da-da-da-da. But never once did I ever think that it would actually go away, that I would be pain-free. And I ate more vegetables and fruits and that green glop than you can shake a stick at. I walked a lot. I exercised, I stretched, and I did the energy stuff that she gave me to do to realign and rebalance a few things. 4 months to the day, no pain. And I have not had one bit of pain since then, not one. So 3 broken backs. And I'm still jumping horses.
But you also did a lot of soul searching.
Oh, yes, I did.
To find out what caused it in the first place.
That's true. I keep forgetting that story because I hate going into that because it's my stuff. That's my stuff. All right. Okay. First, you have to know what's out. There's 3 things you have to know in order to heal. Okay. You have to know what's out of balance. Okay. You have to have a desire to be healed, and you have to have a space in which healing can occur. Okay. And usually you go to somebody for all of that. Okay. So those are the 3 things. I forgot all that stuff. But what I really needed to do was the first one. And the first one is figuring out what is out of balance. Why is this happening to me? Well, what I discovered after a lot of soul searching, and boy, did I do a lot of soul searching. This was the hardest part ever, and that's why I hate talking about it, because it was so hard. And it was humbling. It was humiliating. It was humbling to know that it was me all along that created this. I made every choice. I did everything to create my reality of a broken back. But what I discovered was that it served me. In the first one, it got me out of gymnastics. I was an elite gymnast, and I worked in the gym 8 to 10 hours a day, got Sundays off, and I was turning 15, and I had discovered boys, and I really didn't want to do gymnastics anymore. I wanted to go play. And so, but I couldn't say that because Mom had invested so much in my career as a gymnast that I didn't feel like I could say, I'm done. I could quit. I don't want to do it anymore. So what did I do? I manifested a broken back. Just like that. Boom. I was out of gymnastics. I could go play. It served me. You see? So most of the things that go wrong with us serve us in some way. Does that make sense? Second broken back was my ex-husband. I was in a marriage. It was kind of not a good one. And it had some challenges. And without going into a whole lot of detail there, I wanted to get out of that marriage. Bam, manifested a broken back. Had to go home. Left him. It served me. It's a pattern. Are you seeing this pattern? How many of you have patterns repeating in your life like this? Do you see? These are your creations. Okay? Third broken back. I was jumping horses, and at the time I was with a trainer that was way expensive, and we were going into the poorhouse trying to keep me jumping. What happened? Broken back. Had to give up horses. It served me. You see? I didn't have enough courage to face up to my own creations and say, I did this. I didn't have enough courage to say, I can't do this anymore. Because I had to create something that made it look like I didn't have a choice. I was making up stories about why I was the way I was, you see? So I wouldn't have to take responsibility for my own creations. Okay? That's what the book is about. My story really is everyone's story. I tend to be a little bit more flamboyant than most people, and I tend to do things probably to the extremes. Extremism seems to be part of my makeup. But do you see the connections? Do you see how that relates to your life, perhaps? If you have something that happens over and over and over again in your life, really take a look at it, okay? Because it's probably a life lesson, okay? Something you came in to experience, because that's what we do. We come in here to experience. We incarnate in order to have experiences. Not good, bad, right, or wrong, just is. We can choose whatever experience we want. Okay? In that moment, when Amaret came in, and she said, I can heal you in 4 months, I just went, yes. But then the work started, the self-examination. And I mean, it was tough. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Humbling, humiliating, hard. But on the other side of it, I just went, how stupid was I that I couldn't face my own creations? So I wrote a book. So it's easier for y'all. Kevin always used to tell me, Jules, you're a bridge built by one but walked on by many. You know? And I think all of us are bridges. If you're sitting in this room, you're a master of creation, and you're here to be a bridge for all those people that you are going to go out and interact. Because if you're here, you're a light worker. You're asking questions. Give yourself a hand, because you guys rock. I mean, that's tough. That's hard to do. You're amazing. And you're a wonderful audience. And ooh, I just love your energy. That's fabulous. Okay.
Let's see if there's any questions. We got about 10 minutes. Okay.
10 minutes. No question. Oh my gosh. Yes, ma'am. Or sir, I can't see back there. Yep.
Is all of this in your book?
Yes, it is. Most of this and more. Some of the more personal stuff is in there.
Your self-belief, and you keep talking about emotion.
Yes.
Is that your angel?
Kevin is my angel. He's the first angel that ever showed up. Amaret is a 12th dimensional being, apparently from the star system Lyra. I don't know where that is, but very far from here. And she's gorgeous. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Could you talk about the fall?
Oh, briefly. Okay. The fall of man is not actually us making errors. It's not us being punished for doing something bad and making bad choices. The fall actually came about because we wanted to experience physical and spiritual together as one. And it was created kind of in a series. It didn't all happen at once. In other words, it took us a long time, 4.2 billion years to be exact, to get to this level. Three-dimensional reality, where we are right now, is the lowest, well, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but this is what my understanding. This is the lowest density level that consciousness has reached without losing its sense of self. Does that make sense? Okay? And this is kind of the lowest level. I don't think we can get any lower than this. I think this is pretty much it. If we go any lower, we're going to be a rock. But, and I've met a few rocks, so sorry. Where did that come from? So, but what happened was, originally we were all one, and we were in the awareness that we were all one. And so really what this is a loss of awareness of who we are. And as we did the descent lower and lower and lower into the physical densities, is what they call it, then we fractured smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. For example, when we came into this sphere of being, we were originally white light, and then we fractured into different colors. So you incarnate on, most of you may know, you incarnate on a ray. I call them colors, whatever. There's 7 of them. There's fixing to be 2 more infrared that you can see, infrared and ultraviolet. One kind of is a teal neon blue color, and one's kind of a red maroonish kind of color. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous colors. But those are the next 2 colors we're going to be able to see on the spectrum. But as we came down into descended into physical, we kind of like, I don't want to say fractured, but that's the best way. It's kind of like a mirror, fractured into a bazillion pieces. Does that make sense? Each one reflecting all that is, and yet still retaining self-awareness. And now what we're doing is we're kind of doing that reverse trek. It was kind of funny too. The angels kind of laugh at us a little bit, because it was almost a joke to see who could get here first, because it was kind of an experiment to see can we do this? Can we incarnate and still remember who we were? Can you find your way back to God without a roadmap? So to me, that's kind of what and it's explained a lot better in the book, but short and sweet, that's kind of what it is. Make sense? I mean, and it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. People think, oh my God, we fell, it's awful, it's bad, And our language is going to change, I think, in the next 10 years. Our language is going to really start reflecting who we truly are, and not the belief system or the BS that, we're evil and awful and we make icky choices and we're never going to be perfect and all of that. I think we're going to really start changing that. Okay? Anybody else?
We've got time for about one more question if anybody wants to ask anything.
Wow.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For your Amaret or your angels,
Sure.
Will it be possible in this earth plane, or could they be brought from down in healing to cure spinal degeneration?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Nothing is not curable.
Well, would you ask your angels to contact me and help me do that?
Contact your own. I mean, mine probably aren't going to work.
Well, I'm asking them right now, if there's
Yeah.
a room full, I'm asking, I would
Yeah.
like to be healed from spinal degeneration.
Okay. So be it.
Angels.
So be
Do
it.
Thank you.
yourself. Do
So
it
be it.
yourself. Ask your own angels.
Yeah, because
They
here's the
love
deal.
What's her name?
They
I don't
love
never-
to help you. Ask them to help you.
Yeah, it's this is a personal journey. Now, there's a couple things, when we have physical illness, okay? It takes a long time to get physical. It goes through 12 levels before it finally hits the physical, sorry. So it's going to take a little bit to get to where the original root cause was, okay? Makes sense? And it could be a life lesson for you, because I see something in the past life, but I'm not going to go into
Well,
that
actually,
right now.
Dolores, many years ago, one of them, she brought up in a past life regression for
Oh,
me.
well, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is let it go. Most injuries we hang on to because they're personal to us. We define ourselves by what's wrong with us, okay? How many times have you met somebody that defines themselves by what's wrong with them?
Did they be
My mom. Yeah, okay. But when we take away the definition of that's the only thing I can be, and we finally allow it to move on, it opens up a path that we didn't see before, okay? Because humans tend to be very blinkered, with blinkers on. They can only see one thing. Blinders, thank you. I knew that word was in there somewhere. But we need to open up our possibilities, because there's an infinite amount of possibilities. But a lot of times when and this is another part of creation too, we desire something, we can only see it happening one way, okay? In other words, we're blind to all of this, okay? We can only see it happening this way, like I can only get $1 million by winning the lottery. That's it. That's all I can see. What if somebody else gets you a ticket? I mean, I'm just guessing, but there's a bazillion different possibilities. But when you raise your vibration and you open yourself up to the ability to see something different, all of a sudden something new comes in. All I got to say, change your diet, exercise, start stretching, eat the green gloop, which is every green thing on the planet plopped into this machine.
See, this is what Jules is talking about. You create your reality, and it's part of your own journey. You can make up your own mind to heal yourself.
That's exactly right.
Look at the power you would get from that. We all have the ability to do all of these things. Just got to be open to it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you all so much. Bless your hearts. May you create in wonder and joy. Thank you.